What's going on, y'all? It's Greg. Greg said it. Back with our inspiration motivation, second of the day. We had a nice live today, and I must say I was instigated. I blame all those chat members who instigated me to get inspiration motivation this early than usual. But hey, we got to come back with our inspiration motivation. We had a good conversation about Colorado. I kind of explained my theory on why I feel that they hate Colorado and ultimately Coach Prime, or really Coach Prime and ultimately Colorado. And man, we really broke that thing down and got kind of deep. And it kind of rolled over into inspiration motivation. And what we realize, or what we should realize, is that life is not what it seems. Everything is not what it seems. For the most part, people are made up of their environment and life experiences. Your thoughts are really not your own. Somebody's fed you them thoughts. Let's be real, from a psychological standpoint. When you were born to this earth, you may have some stuff in your DNA, so to speak, and that can get deep in itself. But for the most part, how you think, what you think, not necessarily how you think, but what you think has a lot to do with your surroundings, your environment. That's why that's important. Your influences. That's your truth. It may not be the truth. It may be what you were led to believe according to the experiences of those who reared you, who groomed you. And that could even be what you watching on TV, the music you listen to. All of that affects how you see life. And that could very well be a reality. It could be your reality. It could be not reality. And then it can also be not somebody else's reality. You living in poverty doesn't mean everybody's in poverty. You in danger doesn't mean everybody's in danger. That's just common sense, right? It should be, at least. But when we look at what we believe, is what we listen to and what we are influenced by the most that determines how we see people, how we see ourselves, how we see life. It don't mean that's what it is. And when we talk about Coach Prime, people see him the way they see him based off of how they feel about themselves, how they feel about life. Could it be racism? Yes. It could be on very low level, how I see black people, how I see him. It also could be, I don't like how cocky he is. I don't like his personality. It also could be, I don't like, he got all this money, he flaunting it, and they got the gold chains and they rap. It could be a lot of things. But it has to do with your perspective of it. It also has to do with why that bothers you. It also has to do with, what you gonna do about it? If you can't do nothing about it, so why be so bothered by it? And all of these different approaches that people have to Coach Prime in Colorado, I'm certain they have it to other areas and other people too, because they're very good at it. They perfect it. Whatever we call judging people. And it's like, why judge people who have nothing to do with you? They're just entertainers. You will never meet them. Their life and their decisions don't impact you. And if you don't like it, you don't have to follow them. You don't have to look at them. You don't have to do none of that. Yet you do. And yet you do, and you spend the energy making negative comments and attacking people who want to support them. Something's wrong. And it's way deeper than football. And it's definitely not what it seems. You can call it football, but making personal stuff with people who ain't did nothing to you, won't do nothing to you, don't care to do nothing to you, and for you to have hatred or jealousy, or any kind of emotion that makes you want to wish harm on a person, makes you want to just wish anything negative on a person over something that's not personal, yet you treat it as it's personal. That's scary. And we living in a world now where people will put ill words, ill feelings on people who really haven't done anything to them. And not knowing how powerful that is, you use your power in the wrong way, ignorantly, or ignorant in the sense that you know what you're doing, but ignorant of what's even influencing you and the consequences of you being ignorant in that manner. And that gets real deep. Because ultimately, there is a proverb, parable, you want to put it. Do unto others as you want done to you. If you was in that same situation, would you want just random people hating on you just because they don't like the way your ears look, the way you walk, the way you talk, your skin color, whatever? It just, it's very hypocritical because you wouldn't wish that on yourself. And if you don't care, you definitely mental. But you wouldn't wish that on your kids. You wouldn't wish people just to mistreat you. Or maybe you don't care. Or maybe your kids. Or maybe you don't care. And that's mental. But the typical person will not just be okay with that. But they okay with doing it to somebody else. You gotta be careful. And you gotta be careful not to jump on every rodeo, every ride, every train on people. And it gets so emotional. Especially if you're gonna refuse to do the lead work to even see if it's accurate what's said about them. And even if it is, what does that have to do with you? How does it impact you? Now, if something impacts you directly, okay. But again, do you get the right to believe a lie because a person's enemy said something about them? You haven't even tried to verify it. You just went along with it. And a lot of times you go along with stuff because you already have a bias towards that person for whatever reason. Or maybe just listen to enough lies about the person to justify what's really going on inside of you. You got a little hate in you. It may not even be personal, but it feeds that little monster inside of you that just wants to be angry and spiteful towards a person. And there's no real right to it on any level. There's no real justification to it. And even if you are justified, why put that energy out there? Why go after a person? Because again, you're just third, fourth, fifth, 10th person. Why? Just believe something about somebody. You gotta really look yourself in the mirror and say, why do I just believe anything? I ain't even have to verify it. They could be lying, and I don't even care if they lie. You gotta really think about it, especially as a grown person, that your energy, your emotion, your time is pulled into negativity. Knowing good and doggone well, negative is not good. It's not good for you doing it to somebody, and it's definitely not good for nobody doing it to you. It doesn't do nothing good for you. Yet, you're so passionate about speaking ill of a person. A person, again, who has no real attachment to your life, no impact on your life. It's a scary thing, people. The social media experiment, or technology, or whatever, is really probably a great instigator of such stuff. It's getting worse and worse the more social media life we have, and no matter what platform, it gives people the ability to express their mental illness, because it got to be mental illness, because you hate somebody who ain't even did nothing to you, or your mama, or your daddy, or your grandma. You hate them like they don't did something to you. You want them to die. You want them to suffer. You want them to go to jail forever. You want they to get sick. You applaud anything negative that happened to them or their family. That's just ill. How do you explain that? If you can't explain it, or don't care to explain it, you might want to find something better to do with your time. Like get a real good therapist. Shrink. Get you some medication. Let somebody lay some hands on you, roll around on the floor. Something. Or maybe even a combination of some things. Because it's not normal. It's not justified. It's not logical. It makes no sense. But that's just me. Greg said it. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. And I'll talk to y'all soon.